So, I was talking about a large percentage, 70% by my lights, of submissives who never actually play, but then I concentrated and mentioned the 30% who do. And these men, and this is what we're talking about here, we're talking about male to male BDSM, are people who may regularly see a top, monthly, and possibly more like yearly, and that the memory of that scene is etched on their sexual and psychological memory for years to come. This is sometimes can be both surprising and enormously gratifying, because the nature of sexuality and arousal is different between submissives and tops or masters. The percentage of tops and masters who play, who are therefore, I use the word active, they're active anyway, but they're active in the marketplace, is far, far higher than the submissives, as you probably would guess. I wasn't able to really ascertain what that 5%, what percentage of the 5% of players who are tops actually played, but one can assume that it was definitely a reversal of the submissive top ratio, so around 70% of tops actually do. And the few masters that I've actually met and known personally, and also withdrawing, of course, on my own experience of the last 30 years, is that my arousal cycle, or I call it the desire cycle, is far more acute and far more active. Sexual and BDSM arousal for me, and for masters like me, is an almost daily, weekly experience. It's not something which I can savour and put away into a box and hermetically seal. So therefore, this turns one into a bit of a hunter, which is both, which of course is sexually arousing for those who are being pursued, and being pursued by almost anybody is provided it's positive, is usually sexually stimulating. But it's part of the game. Tops and masters do hunt, because their arousal and interest levels are higher, and therefore there is investment by them, and certainly by masters, in long-term relationships and the equipment and the knowledge, and in my own case is a level of fitness, both mentally and physically, in order to be able to discharge my role. It does amaze me sometimes that some masters, if they are in fact what they say they are physically, and sometimes one suspects also mentally, rather unsuitable for the role, and by my lights. But it doesn't seem to stop them attracting a certain following. Again, could be an internet following. So, in other words, masters are always on station. Submissives are not, as one would expect, I suppose. The question that I'm asked by by often straight ladies and straight men about BDSM is why, after accepting that there is a huge desire on the part of submissives to do this, they then say, well, how could you reconcile that with real life? Of course, the first thing is that 70% of submissives never do, because they don't have to. There is no collision between real life and their private sex lives, their pornographic lives. But the other area is that social and economic and educational positions in human society are still important in BDSM, as they are in all sexual relationships. Not quite mirrored, but once the players have accepted each other, usually the submissive has accepted the authority of a master, or entered into a relationship with the top, he will then do so in the knowledge that, for instance, many submissives' economic positions are far greater than the active partner.